Hi, neighbors. I hope you're doing well. It's been a great week. We had some really beautiful days earlier this week. Of course, it's the weekend, so it's going to turn a little chillier, but it's still going to be beautiful. I hope you get outside and enjoy this weekend. Um, Having said that, today I am going to talk about a convicted felon that was sentenced to 18 to 24 years for crimes in and around Fairfield Harbor. But before I do that, I want to just state that as part of this podcast's continue evolution, I want to first thank everyone who has subscribed so far and turned on notifications and liked these videos. It's getting some real good traction in week one, and I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and I hope you will leave me some comments and let me know other things you'd like for me to cover. Having said that, I do want to make sure that I am very clear with the fact that I in no way represent Fairfield Harbor or the Fairfield Harbor Property Owners Association. So things that I talk about here, again, publicly available information for the most part, and for and things that matter to me, things that should, I feel like, matter to all of us. But I'm in no way on the POA board. I am just a resident in our neighborhood doing this. No one asked me to do this. Again, this was just me trying to record information that my dad could listen into so that he had a better understanding of what was happening in the community around him. And I felt like that may also be valuable to a larger audience that doesn't have time to sit and read through all the socials, the newsletter, the beacon, and all the ways that we get other information about our community. So, having said that, I will update the disclaimer on the About tab for the YouTube channel to make sure that that is very clear. I will update the intro video that folks see that haven't yet subscribed but are clicking through to get news. But I just wanted to share that and be very clear about the fact that I am in no way affiliated with the Fairfield Harbor Property Owners Association or the office that manages our community. So if you have questions or comments, please reach out to me directly. Happy to address those. But nothing that I say should be taken as from the word of the POA itself. Okay. So, or the office itself, the management company itself. So having said that, welcome to your entertainment brief for the day in Fairfield Harbor. So this story came out on Wednesday of this week, and it got a lot of attention on the social media. We have so many, and again, I'm going to do another thing on this, so many Fairfield Harbor community pages, group pages on Facebook, things like that. And it was getting good traction there, and I wanted to make sure that I covered it for those that are not on Facebook and or do not get their news in any other way. But this is a man who was convicted of crimes specifically in our community. And I'm going to read through the press release. I'm going to read it through from newbernlive.org because I felt like it was the most comprehensive press release that was out there. Again, you can find this on Facebook. You can Google it. It's out there. So having said that, I'm going to read through, and then I have some comments. Per the usual, I always have something to say. Okay, press release. District Attorney Scott Thomas and Craven County Sheriff Chip Hughes announced that Thomas Gregory Long, 43, of New Bern, North Carolina, was sentenced to a minimum of over 18 years up to 24 years in prison after a jury returned a guilty verdict following a 3-day trial in Craven County Superior Court last week. The jury deliberated a little over an hour on Thursday before returning verdicts of guilty as charged to felonious larceny, felonious possession of stolen property, and obtaining property by false pretenses. Superior Court Judge Clinton D. Rowe presided over the trial and handed down the sentence. The state of North Carolina was represented at trial by Assistant District Attorney Augustus D. Willis, assisted by legal assistant Rosa Martinez. Evidence presented at trial showed that in October 2020, the Craven County Sheriff's Office conducted an investigation in response to multiple reports of vehicle breaking and enterings and larcenies from residents of the Fairfield Harbor and Broad Creek Road communities of Craven County. In the early morning hours on the date A kayak had been reported stolen. Surveillance cameras in Fairfield Harbor captured a brown Chevrolet Tahoe towing a trailer as it entered Fairfield Harbor, exiting a few minutes later with a kayak matching the description of stolen kayak visible inside the trailer. During the course of the investigation, deputies learned that the kayak in the surveillance footage had been sold at a pawn shop located in Onslow County on the same day it had been stolen from Fairfield Harbors. Deputies recovered the kayak along with surveillance video footage from the pawn shop showing that Long and two co-defendants arriving in the same Chevrolet Tahoe depicted in the Fairfield Harbor surveillance videos, carrying the stolen kayak into the pawn shop where they represented it as their own property in order to sell it. Investigation revealed that Long and other co-defendants had been in Fairfield Harbor on multiple occasions to commit breaking and enterings and larcenies during the time frame of the reported crimes, and that in the hours prior to being captured on the surveillance video with the stolen kayak at the pawn shop, they had traveled in the Tahoe to Fairfield Harbor where they stole the kayak, later sharing the proceeds from the sale of the stolen kayak to the pawn shop. At sentencing and asking the court to impose consecutive habitual felon sentences, Assistant District Attorney Willis called the court's attention to the defendant's extensive criminal history. Yes, I'm judging. Since 1996, which included multiple prior convictions for felonious larceny and obtaining property by false pretenses, as well as convictions for possession of burglary tools, assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury, felony death by vehicle, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and other misdemeanor and felony convictions. District Attorney Scott Thomas said, "My office takes property crimes committed against the citizens of our district very seriously. Property crimes invade the privacy and security of homes and property of the people we serve. The jury heard the evidence and returned guilty verdicts, and the lengthy sentence is due to the defendant's criminal record and status as a habitual felon." The Craven County Sheriff's Office did a great job in investigating these crimes, and ADA Willis prosecuted this case successfully. Sheriff Chip Hughes added, "This defendant has been responsible for multiple property crimes in the Broad Creek Road and Fairfield Harbor areas in our county. I appreciate the hard work of the Craven County Sheriff's Office, Criminal Investigations Bureau, and District Attorney Scott Thomas's office, which resulted in these convictions and a substantial prison sentence for this career criminal." I really like Chip Hughes. Note, under the North Carolina structured sentencing law, a convicted criminal defendant must serve all the minimum active sentence and may be required to serve up to the maximum sentence. Upon release at the conclusion of the prison sentence, 9 to 12-month period of post-release supervision by a probation officer is required. And the source of this press release and additional information was the Craven County Sheriff's Office. Okay. I just want to first say, great job to everyone that participated in getting this person out of the Broad Creek Road and Fairfield Harbor areas. And I'm hoping that the co-defendants have similar trials and sentencing. So I said it earlier, but I think Chip Hughes does a really great job for us. I've seen him multiple times on Broad Creek. And I think that, I love the fact that Craven County specifically, having come from a much bigger county with a lot more crime, we just post our crimes on the Craven County Sheriff's Office Facebook page with pictures. Like, we are looking for this person. Have you seen this child? They do a really great job of including the community and trying to bring justice to those who need it. So whether that is property crimes, whether that is families that have lost or have had loved ones injured, that are children and others that are missing, trying to bring awareness, building that community infrastructure that allows us to not take responsibility or accountability for each other, but have an awareness of what's going on around us. I really applaud Craven County for doing that because, like I said, we've lived in a much bigger county with a lot more crime, and it's very hard to create that awareness without inflicting fear in the community. And I think we struck a really nice balance given the size of the county that we're in. How much open land, it's not an urban landscape in any way, but yet people, I feel safe here, especially in Fairfield Harbor. And I know that folks have, comments all the time on our Facebook pages and others about the gates. How secure are we? They're just a facade of security. But I think it's important to note, after having read more information from back in 2020, when these original crimes were reported and we were seeking surveillance videos, I think it's important to note that this Chevrolet Tahoe did not come into Fairfield Harbor through the gates. They came in through where our rec center is. And I'm not trying to teach people how to crime better, especially in our neighborhood. But I think it's important for those of us that live in Fairfield Harbor to know we have a really big community here. There are a lot of people that live here. We have a lot of contractors and Amazon deliveries. We have a lot of people that come in to support our community from outside, but not the whole community is gated. And this Chevy Tahoe came into our community through an ungated portion of our community, but it was our surveillance videos in that ungated portion of our community that got the license plate numbers that was able to quickly aid law enforcement with finding the Chevy Tahoe, finding the kayak, and connecting the dots in Onslow County and bringing justice to all of the folks that had things stolen from them. This was not just a kayak. This was not 18 years for just stealing a kayak. It said in this press release that this habitual felon, his criminal history dated back to 1996. That's almost 30 years. That's 3 decades of criminal history. And I have no doubt that Fairfield Harbor and, areas along Broad Creek Road coming in and out of Fairfield Harbor were not the only ones impacted. So I think personally, yes, 18 to 24 years, that's a big portion of the rest of this guy's adult life. But I just want to say, I think this was well-deserved. Kudos for everyone that was involved in getting this person where they needed to be, which is behind bars. And like I said, I hope their co-defendants get the justice that they deserve as well. I just cannot say enough. And I think, having lived in Fairfield Harbor now for 2 years, there are a ton of cameras. And I love the fact that whenever I go on the socials, people are not scared to put out photos from their cameras of things that are happening. We have cameras all over this little cul-de-sac. And I love it. I love the "I wish you would" statement that we make in living here, because we do have a lot of older folks that live in this community that do need the security of a gate, and they do need us watching out for each other to help them. They're not able to run away. They're not able to stop someone from stealing their things, but it's all of us working together to create a safe environment for everyone. And I just kudos all around again. And with that, I'm going to conclude today's this episode, but I hope again that you will subscribe, turn on notifications, and like, and I will see you when we talk about the newsletter this week. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.